Hi, this is Dale Maxfield, and I have a channel here that I review movies with my friends. And I've been tagged by another online reviewer, another YouTube reviewer named MovieManCHAD, to answer a series of questions. This is a tag that's called the Secret Life of a YouTuber, and I appreciate being tagged, being asked to talk about some stuff and talk a little bit more about what I do on YouTube. So thank you for tagging me, and I will try and answer the questions. I got these from his video that he tagged me in, so these are the 10 questions that he answered, and I'm going to answer them as well. First question is, how did you get started on YouTube? As far as my use of YouTube, that's something that I've kind of used here and there, mostly as a storage platform, honestly. I'm not really a YouTuber in the sense that I'm, trying to develop a personality on YouTube or trying to be part of the overall community of it. As somebody that's in the technology industry, I recognize that YouTube is pretty much the first solution that was just always worked. Before YouTube, you had video sites that you would go to, or you'd go to watch a video on the internet, and it would work on Windows but not on a Mac, or you'd have to download some plugin to make it work, and it wasn't fast enough, or it couldn't handle whatever was going on. And YouTube was kind of the way to go. As far as when I got started with doing these movie reviews, that actually started earlier this year in 2014. I've been doing some written reviews for my website, and had the idea to start doing some video reviews, and also kind of based the show, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but I based the show on another review show that's similarly made, where a group of friends go see a movie and talk about it in the car, do a review in the car. So it's a very similar show in style to the Midnight Screening series that Brad Jones does over at the cinemasnob.com. Second question, will I review things other than movies? The way that this show works, with the sort of immediacy of we just saw it and now we're reviewing it, I think it would be fairly hard to adapt that into something for, music or television or something along those lines. The other part of this is that, kind of the point of what I do is I'm trying to convince people that they should see a movie that they may not have been aware of, or that they shouldn't see a movie that they may think they want to see but don't realize that there's something, very broken about it, or something that's going to offend them, or something along those lines. A good example of what I mean by that is if a couple months ago we reviewed a Riff Tracks Live event. We reviewed their Sharknado show, and the only reason we reviewed that and posted it was because they were going to do an encore presentation of that the next week, and so it made sense to try and sort of convince people, hey, if you didn't make it to the first showing, go out and see the second one. But if it's kind of a one-off event, like, reviewing a concert or something along those lines, it's sort of like, you're just going to have to take our words for it, because you can't go and experience it for yourself, per se. And television, I feel like there's plenty of people talking about television. Plus, I would have a really hard time, narrowing down what kind of television I would want to talk about. So I'm happy doing movies, and I'm happy with, the schedule of doing, that the amount of movies that come out every week isn't an unbearable amount of things to watch. Number 3, who do you admire on YouTube? There's a lot of people that I admire on YouTube. I'm not a big, I don't binge watch YouTube, and I don't really keep up with very many people that are on there. But there's people like the Angry Video Game Nerd. I mentioned the Cinema Snob before. I like a lot of the Channel Awesome personalities, which isn't necessarily YouTube per se. A lot of their stuff's, on other formats and other video formats and things like that. But I really like the way they do things. I like Vlogbrothers quite a bit. And as far as other movie reviewers and that kind of thing goes, I still tend to watch the Cinema Snobs group and their show, which is very different from my show. I am based on their show. We do the same thing. We go to a movie and we go sit in the car and review it. But they tend to take their time and really dig into things. They talk with more length than I do. I try to keep my videos a little bit shorter. And they also don't do the split where in my videos I split everything up to where we have a spoiler-free review to kind of tell people whether or not they should see the movie and who we think would like it and who wouldn't. And then a discussion part where we can talk about whatever we want, get into spoilers and all of that sort of thing. So I feel like doing that right after we see a movie is a really good way to capture how we feel about all those things. But it's also a way that, we can sort of... People don't feel like they have to wait till they've seen the movie to watch our review. Whereas with a lot of other movie reviews that you see, and those the Cinema Snob ones in particular, they get into spoilers pretty quick without a lot of warning. So I try to be a little bit different than that. How many videos do I make a week is the fourth question. It depends on how many movies we see. I typically, if 4 movies comes out that week, that's usually what we shoot for. So we'll see 2 on a Thursday night and 2 on a Friday night. And they'll show up early Friday morning, early Saturday morning. I try to get things up pretty quickly so that, we're seeing the movie and reviewing it and having a review available before most people would go and see it, before most people get to the weekend and can go and do that. I think the most that we've ever done in a given week is somewhere in like maybe 6, maybe 7 tops, where we've had like a lot of releases come out, or if we've been out of town and had to catch up on a bunch of things. But normally it's 3 or 4, and normally it's pretty rapid where we see a movie, we do our 10 or 15 minutes, and then I rush home and edit it, write up the written part of the review, and then put it all together. So my target is actually, putting up these blog posts on dalemaxfield.com, and then the video actually shows up as a part of that. The written review is completely spoiler-free, and so I publish that out to my friends and subscribers and all that sort of thing on my blog. And then there's obviously, there's a YouTube channel behind that as well that just has the video portion of it. So, number 5, advice for YouTube noobs, people that are new to YouTube. So one of the things I really try to do with this show, everything I do is kind of experimental. It's kind of to see how it will work, whether I enjoy it or not, whether I want to keep doing it or not. And one of the reasons that I decided to do this show was that it seemed like something that I would enjoy doing and that I would look forward to doing on a regular basis. So going to see movies is something that I really enjoy doing. Hanging out with my friends is something I really enjoy doing. I like talking to people about movies after I've seen them. So treating you, the person that watches the show, or the audience that's on the other side of the camera, as a friend talk to about a movie, that seemed really attractive to me. And the idea of that being an easy way to quickly create content and publish videos was also something that I found very attractive, because there's not a lot of editing that goes into making this show. We don't do a bunch of cuts. There's not a lot of production that goes into it. We set up a camera, we film it, we render it, we upload it. It takes me about as much time to write the written review as it takes to upload it to YouTube. So the timing of everything works out really, really well. So as far as advice for somebody that's new and getting started, don't be afraid to be, don't try to be perfect. Don't try to get it right the first time. You're going to learn as you go what works and what doesn't, what you can commit to and what you can't commit to. And once you can figure out what those things are that you really can commit to and that you're really passionate about, then keep that stuff and be consistent with it, and get rid of the stuff that doesn't work or isn't fun to do. And from a consistency perspective, the first videos that I've done, I don't tell people to like or subscribe to the channel. I don't mention that I've got a blog at dalemaxfield.com. That's stuff that I figured out after a while, that I started thinking, maybe people are going to watch more than one of these, and there's probably going to be more people finding these on YouTube that are going to be finding them on my website. So I need to tell people about that kind of thing. But from a consistency perspective, we've always had the format of, we do a spoiler-free version, and then we have a discussion that's not spoiler-free. And we always explain that at the beginning of every video, which may not be the best way to do it, but it works for us. We've had people complain about it, and we've had other people that really like it and really like the format, and once they've seen a couple of them, they get hooked. So that's cool. Sixth question, when do you think you will stop doing YouTube? When something happens that makes this just unbearable. And that would be something along the lines of some sort of a draconian new rule from YouTube where we're not allowed to talk about movies, or I don't see something like that happening. But just as an example, there's things that I've done in the past that got the smackdown for copyright, and again, this was a show that was appealing to me because it's 100% fair use. I can talk about a movie. I'm not showing any clips from it. I'm not doing anything, untoward as far as that goes. If for some reason I got shut down, or if for some reason I wanted to move on and do something else, I probably would. And if it made sense to continue on YouTube, I would do that, but I'm not, at all committed to everything I do has to stay on YouTube. It has to be on YouTube. From that perspective, I'm going to do this as long as I enjoy it, and as long as it's something that I feel that is a way of sharing my experience with things that I'm watching. I know that, for me, watching other people's videos and watching their reviews, it kind of makes me feel like I know that person a little bit. You get to sort of understand who they are a little bit. You get to know their personality, and you kind of have this rapport of, if you watch me and you tend to agree with things that, you tend to like the same kind of things that I like, then maybe you'd seek out my opinion on a movie that you're watching. Or the same thing for one of my friends. If you know that Aaron or Cal is in a video for a movie that you're thinking about seeing, and you tend to agree with their opinion, that's a really great way to sort of, gauge how well the movie is going to meet your expectations. So, as long as that works, as long as that's useful, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm married, I have 2 kids, and I make this work. 2 nights a week at least I am, spending 4 to 6 hours a night doing, watching videos, reviewing them, editing them, writing reviews, and putting them up. And so, I've done that for 6 or 7 months now, and so I see that continuing for the near future, for sure. Number 7, what is the best thing about YouTube? I got into this a little bit earlier, but, obviously from the old days, the best thing about YouTube is how ubiquitous it is, and how it works on everything. It's the video platform. It's the way to display video for people. Some of the things that they've changed over the years have been good. Some of them have been bad. I'm personally a huge fan of the way they changed the comments, and I know a lot of people were really irritated when they did that and didn't understand it and really got upset about it. But I love that it's tied to Google Plus now, because it tends to make people a little bit more accountable. You have to work a little bit harder to just go ahead and be a troll. So that part of it I really enjoy as well, and I get a lot fewer comments that are designed to ruin my day. I get a lot more comments that are people not understanding something that I said, or giving me advice, or in general being polite, more than just calling me out on things. But if you want to see what that looks like, go check out my God's Not Dead review, because the people came out of the woodwork to complain about everything and anything, things that had nothing to do with that video. So, I've seen it. I've seen all sides of that. Who is on my collab wish list? So for this show in particular, collaboration's kind of limited to who I can get in the car with me. I have had the opportunity to collaborate with a couple of people that aren't local to where I live or are a little bit outside of my circle of friends. And those have been really just sort of off the cuff, hey, do you want to go do this for a minute sort of thing. I got Malcolm Ray to come and do a review of the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. That was really cool, and that was really just a spur of the moment. Like, we were sitting next to each other, I introduced myself and talked to him a little bit before the movie and asked him if he wanted to come out, and do a really short review in the car, and he was cool doing that. As far as other collaborations, I would, to be part of somebody else's show, would probably be the best way for me to do a collaboration. Trying to do this show remotely, I don't think would work. So it would have to be something where, if somebody's reviewing a movie or going into more depth and doing more of an edited style of review, and, I could jump on and, send them a video clip that they could edit into their video, or talk to them over Skype, or, do a podcast thing. I'm all for any of that stuff. That's just not my show. It's not that I don't want to collaborate with people. I think collaborating with people is really important. It's just this particular show is a hard one to tie in as a collaborative effort. But if people want to work with me and people want to, bring me in as a guest, I'm all for it. So please, feel free to hit me up and we'll make it work. 9, how do you feel about the YouTube community? I kind of touched on this a little bit when I was talking about Google Plus and comments and things like that. I think that there's a fairly good number of people out there that are helpful to one another, that support one another, whether that's just, giving advice or watching each other's videos, or, looking out for one another. I think that kind of stuff's cool. I wish there were a little bit more capabilities to sort of publicize that people are working together, or that talk about people that you like. I still find, and maybe this has something to do with my age, or I don't know what, but navigating YouTube from a changing the channels kind of perspective, or subscribing to people and then trying to catch up with the things that they've done, that all really, like, I have a hard time keeping up with that. I have a hard time, like, staying on top of all of that. So from a community perspective, I tend to be fairly reactive, which I know isn't a great way to be, but I tend to be sort of, if you post a comment on any of my videos, I try to respond to you if what you say is something that you seem to want a response to, as long as it's not, someone that's obviously trying to pick a fight, or just, trolling or whatever. But, if you have a question, like, what did you mean by this? Or do you think this is a safe movie to take my kids to, or something along those lines, I try to answer that as quickly as I can, and, try to get back on that as much as I can. And the final question is, what is your successful channel? It depends on how you define success. I wouldn't say that I have a successful YouTube channel. I have less than 300 subscribers. We put out a lot of content. I feel like that's a really good start. We're very consistent in what we do. We see a lot of movies, every single week we see a lot of movies. We post it up there. I personally try to, talk to people about the site as much as I can. With reviewing movies, there's, everyone that you encounter probably has a movie that they like, or they're probably interested in movies to some degree. And so I found, a lot of people that subscribe to my blog are people that I've met in person that I've talked to a little bit about it. And, I have a business card with my website address on it that I hand to them, and I say, if you want to know what I think about that movie before you see it, you can go and check this out. And I've made friends that way, and I've had people that never comment and never talk to me about any of that stuff. And then I see them after 2 or 3 months, and I'm like, so how's it going? And they're like, I really enjoyed your review of this and this, and you got that review right, and no one else seemed to understand what it was about. And it's this really interesting dynamic of people that comment tend to be such a minority of the people that actually watch what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing, that it tends to be something that if you get wrapped up in numbers, I think you're missing the point. I think being successful at anything, you kind of need to have that defined in your head. You kind of have to need that. You need to know what that is for you. Is my YouTube channel financially successful? No, and nor will it ever be. It's not something that I'm trying to make financially successful. There's plenty of easier ways to make money than reviewing movies on the internet. But it's something that I really enjoy, and it's something that gives me an excuse to hang out with my friends in real life. It gives me a chance to reach out and meet new people online, and it gives me a chance to talk about something that I'm passionate about. So from that perspective, I think it's very successful. Isn't that it's a good thing for me. It's a good thing for my sense of well-being and my sense of being friendly and amiable with people that I may not even know in person yet. So those are my answers. This is the part where I'm supposed to tag more people. I'm sorry, I'm going to lame out. I don't really know who I would tag or who would be interested. But if you're watching this and you have a YouTube channel and you want to do a video response to it, please do leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to allow your URL through or anything like that if there's a moderation need. If you're another video reviewer and you want to answer the questions, please feel free to do it. And if you watch what I do and you like the way that I talk about stuff, or are interested in doing a collaboration, by all means, hit me up. All of my contact information's at my website, dalemaxfield.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I do have a Gmail account that's tied to YouTube, but it's very rare that I check that. I get so much garbage there. So, hitting me up through any of the social networks or YouTube comments are a good way to get the conversation started. So thank you for watching this, and thank you to MovieManCHAD for tagging me. I had no idea who you were, and I'm glad to have gotten to know you to the degree that we have now. So I enjoyed your channel, and glad you enjoyed mine. So thanks a lot. Take care.